Are we really seeing the most dangerous Lewis Hamilton in recent years? Or has Bahrain just shown us the beginning of something much bigger with Ferrari? Because what happened in the 3 days of testing in Sakhir was not normal. It was not an isolated fast lap. It was not a low-fuel run to attract attention. It was a complete race simulation that left the paddock silent, and Nico Rosberg absolutely shocked. Huge top speed, ridiculously low energy consumption, steady pace in extreme heat, and all this without pushing the hybrid system to the limit. When Rosberg, the man who best knows how Hamilton works under pressure, sees that data and reacts with surprise, something serious is happening in Maranello. From day one, the SF26 showed stable behavior in demanding track conditions. High temperatures, abrasive asphalt, and a circuit that historically exposes rear degradation and energy management weaknesses. Bahrain does not forgive. If a car has thermal problems, they appear here. If the battery is overheating, it is seen here. If consumption is high, the stint drops here. And yet, Ferrari began to chain clean, long, and methodical runs. It wasn't about finding the absolute best time. The program was clear: massive mileage accumulation. More than 420 laps in total during the 3 days. That means data. Where data, engine maps, differential management, hybrid efficiency, high fuel behavior. On the second day, something different began to be noticed. The car did not need peaks of energy to remain competitive at medium pace. The delivery was progressive, constant, almost clinical. But it was on the third day where everything changed dimension. Lewis Hamilton completed 149 laps in a single day. That is not a simple test. That's simulating more than 2.5 races under real Grand Prix conditions. High fuel, demanding temperatures, sustained rhythm. And the most disturbing thing, no obvious signs of abrupt drop in performance. There was not that classic drop in pace when the battery enters defensive management. There was no exaggerated lift and coast on the straight. There were no irregular peaks of degradation. This is where the technical part begins that scares the rest of the paddock. The SF26 showed very high top speed traces while recording up to 30% less energy use per lap compared to comparable architectures. This means that the heat engine is generating a higher efficiency than expected under these regulations. And in 2026, where the balance between electrical and thermal power is critical, that efficiency is pure gold. Now, there is one detail that cannot be ignored. The car operates in an extremely narrow window. When within its optimal range, it seems almost unbeatable at long pace. But any small misalignment can cause serious problems. There was already one retirement during testing in Sakhir that made it clear that Ferrari is working very close to the limit. And when you work at the limit, the margin for error is minimal. Stability in long runs was probably the most revealing data of the 3 days. Bahrain is the circuit that punishes rear-wheel drive the most. And yet, the SF26 maintained predictable behavior on slow corner exits, without uncontrolled degradation. This completely changes the strategic landscape. If you can maintain pace without destroying tires or draining the battery, you can dictate the race. And this is where the Hamilton factor comes in. He not only completed kilometers, he progressively adapted his style to the behavior of the Ferrari. Without the need to force aggressive corrections, the Briton worked on corner entry stability and energy management on the straight. He did it methodically, almost silently. But the data spoke for itself. What Rosberg detected was something that only a driver with his experience can read between the lines. Hamilton was not pushing the car. He wasn't resorting to spikes of energy to sustain the pace. It was not entering into that aggressive dynamic of hybrid deployment that usually empties the battery and forces management in the second half of the stint. The rhythm was constant, linear, controlled. And that is deeply disturbing. Because when a driver can maintain competitive times without forcing the system, it means that the car has margin. And the margin is the most dangerous thing in Formula One. It means that you are not yet seeing the real limit of the package. Based on analysis of energy data, the SF26 was using up to 30% less battery per turn compared to similar architectures. That's not just electrical efficiency. That implies the heat engine is generating a strong enough power base to not rely on extreme hybrid drive. In the 2026 regulations, where the electrical part has more strategic weight, this advantage completely changes the board. Rosberg understood something else. He understood that Hamilton looked comfortable. And when Hamilton feels comfortable, his style changes. There are no sudden corrections, no overdriving. The steering wheel moves less. The route is cleaner. Tire management improves. And that was exactly what the long runs on the third day showed. Thermal stability was also key in the reaction. Bahrain often uncovers hidden problems. battery overheating, power drop due to high temperatures, progressive rear degradation. But SF26 showed no serious signs of collapse. There was no pronounced drop in the second half of the long stints. There was no obvious loss of top speed as the laps progressed. That, for a new car under demanding regulations, is a sign of technical maturity. And here appears the part that most worries the paddock. Ferrari seems to have found a structural efficiency in its power unit that others are still looking for. It's not just top speed. It is top speed with low energy consumption. It is the ability to maintain deployment without compromising battery charge for the next sector. It is being able to attack without compromising the end of the stint. Rosberg knows it. He knows what it means to have that tool under your right foot. And that is why his reaction was not exaggerated, it was logical. If the car maintains that efficiency in real racing conditions, Ferrari will not only be competitive, it will be strategically dominant on circuits with high energy demands. But there is also a nuance that cannot be ignored. The SF26 operates within a very narrow operating window. When everything is in range, it's brilliant. But the abandonment it has already suffered in Sakhir shows that the balance is fragile. Rosberg understands that too. He knows that playing so close to the limit can have consequences if conditions change. After 3 days in Sakhir, the conclusion is not simply that Ferrari was fast. The conclusion is much deeper. What we saw was a car that, in real Grand Prix conditions, can sustain a high pace without paying the usual energy price. And that, in modern Formula One, changes championships. Because when a car combines 3 factors, solid top speed, controlled degradation, and superior hybrid efficiency, it becomes a strategic threat. It's not just a matter of classification. It's a matter of how an entire career plays out. If you can maintain electric deployment without emptying the battery, if you don't need to go into economy mode mid-stint, if you don't depend on aggressive lift and coast, then you can attack when others manage. And that's exactly what the SF26 data showed. The most disturbing thing for rivals is not that Hamilton has set good times. The thing is that he did it without appearing to be on the limit. There was no overdriving. There were no desperate turns to impress. There was method. There was repetition. There was consistency. And that is usually the prelude to something much bigger when the real season starts. However, the risk is there. Ferrari is working within an extremely narrow operating window. There was already a dropout in the test that showed that the margin is minimal. If the conditions change, if the ambient temperature varies, if the settings go out of their optimal point, the car can become vulnerable. It is a very sharp weapon. And very sharp weapons also cut those who wield them. But if they manage to maintain balance, so the combination is explosive. Hamilton comes to this project with experience, strategic reading, and the ability to adapt his style quickly. In just 3 days, he accumulated more than 2,200 kilometers of data together with the team. That means deep understanding of the car before the first official traffic light even goes out. And this is where Rosberg's reaction makes even more sense. He didn't react out of nostalgia. He reacted because he recognized the patterns. He recognized the type of car that allows Hamilton to control races from base pace, not from desperate aggression. He recognized the structural efficiency that, when combined with a methodical driver, can become a points machine. Bahrain does not issue titles, but it does reveal trends. And the trend left by the SF26 is clear. Ferrari has not only built a fast car, he has built an efficient car. And in this technical age, sustained efficiency is worth more than a spectacular return. The question now is whether this performance was conservative, or if Ferrari still has hidden margin. If what was shown in the test was only 90% of its capacity, the start of the season may have an unexpected turn. Preseason tests do not award points. They do not define championships. They don't crown champions. But they do reveal uncomfortable truths. And what Bahrain revealed in those 3 days was something that the paddock did not expect to see so soon. An efficient, stable Ferrari with a Lewis Hamilton fully integrated into the project. It was not a superficial exhibition. It wasn't marketing. It was a solid, structured, and technically disturbing racing simulation. High top speed combined with low energy consumption. Constant pace in long runs under extreme heat. More than 420 accumulated laps. 149 spins in a single day by Hamilton. That's no coincidence. That's serious preparation. Nico Rosberg's reaction was not media exaggeration. It was the technical reading of someone who recognizes when a car and driver are starting to align. And when Hamilton finds real confidence in a car, performance stops being intermittent and becomes systematic. However, the SF26 walks a very fine line, operates within a narrow window. It already showed that it can fail if something goes out of range. Ferrari is working to the limit, and working to the limit can give you a decisive advantage, or it can cost you dearly. What was clear is that Ferrari is not improvising, it's building. And Hamilton isn't learning from scratch. It is optimizing from the first moment. That combination is dangerous. Bahrain did not decide the championship, but he did issue a silent warning. If that energy efficiency and long pace stability are maintained when the real traffic lights go out, Ferrari will not only compete, it will be a determining factor. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.